Hello, you are on the Balance of Style channel. Today I'll show you how to create a checkered weave like the one I have on my sleeve. You can apply this technique to any part of a garment or even to the full piece, like a cocktail dress, for example. It all depends on your imagination and desire. So, let's take our sleeve and decide which area we want to weave. I'll start from here. And I want each square in the weave to be 3 centimeters wide. That means the total weaving area should be a multiple of 3, for example, 9, 12, 15 centimeters, and so on. I'll go with 12 centimeters. I mark this area on the sleeve. Now, we cut out the sleeve. For my project, I use suede fabric. I personally love suede and often sew with it. It's especially handy for weaving because the edges don't need to be finished. I'll be using 2 colors to make it clear. I mark the area to be woven on my sleeve. I leave 1 centimeter seam allowance. Then I mark vertical lines in the weaving area. These are the lines I'll cut. Cut along the vertical lines in this section. It's best to start the cuts with a blade and then continue with scissors. Make sure your cuts are clean and even. Now we cut out the piece that will be woven in. We also divide it into equal horizontal strips, 3 centimeters wide. And again, leave a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Cut the horizontal strips with the seam allowances included. Now we have the sleeve and the fabric strips. Time to weave. Fix the edges. We started weaving the first strip over the top. So for the next one, we start underneath. To prevent the squares from deformation while wearing, they need to be fixed in place. We'll use fusible web. Now it's ironing time. Cut small pieces of fusible web, smaller than the size of your squares. And place them between the woven layers to fix them together. You don't have to fix every single square, just the central area. The side sections will hold well due to the seam. Some people think fusible web isn't efficient, and it is only for lazy people. But I believe that if something works well, and saves time, it should be used. I made a woven sleeve 2 years ago using this very technique, and the fusible web still hasn't peeled off, not even by a millimeter. I'll use a pressing cloth. You can use any cotton fabric as a pressing cloth. Yes, it holds tightly and doesn't deform. Our weaving is done. Now we just need to sew the seam on the inside, and the sleeve is finished. You can do that yourself. Just make sure the edges of the woven area line up correctly. Let's talk about how to create weaving on a garment with a two-curved side area, like on the back of a dress. Here's the basic idea. First, we'll cut the main piece horizontally and weave the strips in vertically. It's just easier that way. You always weave in longer strips. Technically, you could cut the main fabric vertically like we did for the sleeve, but in that case, you'd need to weave in 20 strips instead of 5 or 6. Second, always base your measurements on the shortest horizontal section. In my case, that's the top back near the armhole. It's 15 centimeters wide. It's acceptable to cut all the way to the edge of the fabric, but not into the seam allowance. Calculate the size of your squares so that the cut lines don't go beyond the edges. For example, I want squares that are 6 centimeters wide. I double the width of the shortest part 15 centimeters to = 30 centimeters and divide by 6. That gives me 5 strips. Since that's an odd number, 1 strip will go exactly in the center. Now let's look at this piece with 5 centimeter squares. There's a small section left at the bottom that's too small to weave. I suggest you leave that small part unwoven. It's not significant. So you should cut the horizontal lines only up to those points, not all the way to the seam allowance. You can apply the same logic to the waist area. Ignore that little segment. In that case, again, cut the lines only up to the marks, not into the seam allowance. Your side insert for weaving will consist of 2 parts. One shaped like this, and the second curved one like this. If you do want to include that small waist area in the weave, then cut all the way to the seam allowance. And your side insert will be a single piece. When you work with large pieces like a full back, it's better to go for larger squares, around 10 centimeters. They look good, and as a bonus, it requires less work on the side areas. As you can see, designing and creating woven elements is quite simple. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more interesting and useful videos, and stay stylish.